his address before UN General Assembly, head of Presidential Council says no more concessions to be given to the Houthis. The 9-year Houthi blockade on Ad-Dawla province deepens suffering of local residents. Authorities in the interim capital Aden launch awareness campaign against bearing arms in the city. Welcome to Yemen Today TV. This is the English news with me, Rushan Fouad. Rashad Al-Alimi, Yemen's Presidential Council Chairman, emphasized lasting peace, urgent state institutions, and praised UAE and Saudi Arabia's solidarity while criticizing Iran's interventions. The following report has more details.
Rashad Al-Alimi, chairman of Yemen's Presidential Council, emphasized the need for lasting peace and an end to the conflict in Yemen. His warnings at the UN General Assembly meeting in New York came as the Houthis showcased in Sana'a their military power on the anniversary of taking over the capital. Besides, he emphasized that this is the only way to guarantee the Yemeni people can build the country's institutions that protect their rights, freedoms, and equality. The conflict has slowed over the past year, and peace efforts have picked up. Al-Alimi thanked the UAE and Saudi Arabia for their solidarity and called on the international community to condemn Tehran's activities in the region. He called for member states to commit to the arms restrictions and prevent Iran from providing its militias with military capabilities. He also called for the international community to support Yemen's government and send a strong message to militias not to overturn constitutional legitimacy. Al-Alimi has warned against returning to slavery due to the Houthi group's influence. He expressed skepticism about the Houthis group intentions and warned against Yemen becoming a hub for terrorism. He also criticized the group's disregard for previous deals, including the Stockholm Agreement. Hopes are renewed with Saudi and Omani efforts to compel Houthis to respect popular, regional, and international will.
President Rashad Al-Alimi met with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly meetings. The meeting reviewed the long-standing bilateral relations between the two friendly countries, which this year celebrate the 95th anniversary of its founding. The meeting also touched on the latest developments in the Yemeni situation and the commendable mediation efforts led by Saudi Arabia. 9 years of the war and the Houthi militia still make the citizens suffer and deprive them of their most basic rights, including using paved roads. The following report gives more details.
A high price is paid by civilians after the terrorist Houthi militias separated them from their relatives and deprived them of traveling through the main roads. Houthis continue their siege of many areas in north and west of Ad-Dawla. Residents are forced to travel across these mountainous roads with their children and women, using donkeys to transport luggage. People travel long distances to visit their relatives or get medical treatment.
The road is really dangerous. We've been walking for about 2 hours. Some people are old, others are sick. We use this road because the main one is closed. Everyone is affected from the closure of the main road. We call on authorities to open it.
The siege, suffering, hardship, and financial burdens double the suffering of the people. The rise in travel prices and transportation of goods of various kinds as a result of the continuation of the siege and the cutting of the main roads linking Ad-Dawla to the rest of the governorates in the country.
This is the only road that people can use. It's really dangerous and difficult for people to use too.
People are forced to return to primitive life and cross dangerous mountain roads. This is what the militia has been practicing for 9 years in many areas of northern and western Ad-Dawla, amid the silence of the United Nations and international organizations.
The European Union reiterated its support for a comprehensive peace process between Yemenis under the auspices of the United Nations. The Union mission in Yemen said that they celebrated the International Day of Peace and welcomed the ongoing efforts, especially made by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It reaffirmed its support for a comprehensive peace process between Yemenis led by the United States. The Houthi militia is preparing to release a new number of prisoners belonging to the terrorist organization of Al-Qaeda. Private security sources confirmed that the militia is preparing to release 32 members of a Al-Qaeda terrorist organization involved in chaos, assassinations, and bombings. According to the sources, this Houthi step came after mediation by Houthi sheikhs and supervisors with one of the Arab countries. The Houthi militia paraded hundreds of children, school students, daily wage workers, and university students to show an elite popular rally. The militia celebrated the anniversary of their coup, which showed that most of the participants in the human parade were children and youth. Informed sources said that among the participants in the parade were school and university students who were promised facilities in the upcoming exams. The temporary capital Aden witnessed the launch of a security campaign to prevent the carrying of weapons, in coordination between the Security Department, the local authority, community institutions, and youth initiatives. The campaign aims to support security personnel from the community and reduce the negative phenomena that the temporary capital has experienced during the past period. The Fong report gives more details.
Together in safety, under the slogan, a security campaign was launched to put an end to the phenomenon of bearing arms as part of serious steps towards strengthening the security in the interim capital Aden.
A weapon is an instrument of destruction that stands in opposition of revival of any form. We must regard weapons as the detrimental force they've been throughout Aden's history. Aden used to thrive prior to the introduction of arms. Now, the city is regressing with the Houthis' ongoing war. There must be a reduction in arm bearing, whether by military forces or security personnel.
Residents supported the decision, which many felt was necessary to boost security. While terror organizations have carried out strikes in recent months, the city has generally been spared the brunt of the violence elsewhere in the country.
We must implement a relative solution by banning arms, confiscating unlicensed weaponry, or designating weaponry to a select few. This campaign comes in the wake of several incidents that have shook our community to its core. Civil society organizations, in cooperation with local authorities, strive to limit this phenomenon.
The campaign targets 4 districts in Aden, with the cooperation of the Aden Security Administration and a number of community youth initiatives.
As we mark this International Day of Peace, people and our planet are in crisis. Conflicts driving record numbers of people from their homes, deadly fires, raging floods and soaring temperatures, poverty, inequalities and injustices, mistrust, division and prejudice. This year's theme reminds us that peace is not automatic. Peace is the result of action. Let us commit to build, drive and sustain peace for all.
Coming next. Dengue fever hits Shabwa Governorate amid fears of rising death cases.
I'm Jean-Nicolas, the UNHCR representative in Yemen, and I would like to provide you an update on the situation on the ground. As you probably know, Yemen has been labeled one of the worst humanitarian crises of our time. A staggering number of 80% of the population indeed relies on our humanitarian aid for their daily survival. Now, the coronavirus is spreading very fast within these impoverished and weakened communities. We know how to save life, but UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency, is lacking critical funding. 1.2 million displaced by the conflict will not receive emergency shelter kits, and therefore will have to live in the open, subject to the element and to abuse. Will not receive cash assistance, which allows them to buy medicine or food for their children or their elderly parents. On top of that, we won't be able to continue our protection activities, which are critical in a country in conflict. We need you. Yemeni people need you today. Will you make a life-saving gift today?
Welcome back. The interim capital of Aden is preparing to launch a project to rehabilitate the urban roads in the city to improve access to key facilities. The Japanese government and the United Nations Office for Project Services in Riyadh signed an agreement worth $3 million to rehabilitate urban roads in downtown. Roads in urban areas were severely damaged due to the protracted conflict, which had a significant impact on economic activities. The Council of Ministers reviewed developments in the situation on the national scene in the political, military, security and service aspects. At the beginning of the meeting, the Prime Minister gave a comprehensive briefing to the members of the Council on the latest developments on the national scene. This included the commendable mediation efforts of the brothers in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Sultanate of Oman in order to renew the truce. Citizens' complaints have increased in the capital Sana'a and Ib Governorate about systematic Houthi abuse in public parks. Since the beginning of the coup, Houthi gangs have been carrying out unlawful arrests and blackmailing under threat of young men and girls, under the pretext of preventing more corruption, combating mixing, and preserving what is called faith identity.
على طريق نقل مزيدين كان طريق مقلق ووعر، زيقت فيه أرواح، طاحت أكثر من سيارة. أنا اشتغلت في مزرعتي، وعندما جرفت السيول هذه القناة تضررت علينا الأراضي الزراعية، شل منها مساحة كبيرة السيد ومنتوج المزارع قل، دهورت معيشة الفلاح. تم اعتماد المشروع من ضمن مشاريع التعاقدات المجتمعية. تم انتخاب لجنة مجتمعية وتم توقيع العقود معهم. استفاد أهل المنطقة من هذا المشروع بثلاثة أمور أساسية. أولاً تأهيل القناة بدرجة أساسية لتغذية الأراضي الزراعية. ثاني الأمر استفادوا تأهيلهم لإدارة المشروع بأنفسهم. الأمر الثالث استفادوا بخلق فرص عمل وتأهيلهم عمالة محلية من أهل المنطقة في هذا المشروع.
الطين هذا مهجور ل 36 سنة والآن إن شاء الله بتعود فيه الحياة.
Dengue fever has spread widely again in the city of Atak, the center of Shabwa Governorate, where the Health and Population Office announced the recording of 4 deaths and 264 cases of illness since late August. This report has more details.
Dengue fever is a deadly epidemic that is once again spreading widely in the city of Atak, as revealed by the Health and Population Office, noting that 4 deaths and 264 cases have been recorded since the last month.
The Directorate of Arak is witnessing an increase of the epidemic of the dengue fever. The recorded cases reached 264 cases, which is a threatening indicator. This epidemic has caused the exacerbation of death rates, which reached 4 people per day. As you know, this epidemic is spreading widely nowadays, and the deaths are clearly witnessed. Dengue fever is a virus which starts with harsh symptoms such as headache and eye problems. After a few days, the patient faces other symptoms such as low blood pressure.
With the frightening escalation in the number of infections, the competent authorities formed a technical committee to study the required initial preventive measures for protection and the impact on people's lives from this deadly disease, which has become one of the endemic diseases in the governorate.
Mosquitoes are the main cause of the spread of infections, so homes and swamps have to be cleaned to avoid them. We need an awareness campaign as well as the intervention of the concerned authorities.
Those concerned in the health office stressed the importance of integrating the roles of the sectors concerned with participating in implementing prevention and awareness campaigns of this disease through the media and mosque preachers, playing their role in educating and informing the population of the danger of the disease to their lives and the prevention methods that must be followed to protect themselves from this endemic. The main headlines. In his address before UN General Assembly, head of Presidential Council says no more concessions to be given to the Houthis. The 9-year Houthi blockade on Adara province deepens suffering of local residents. Authorities in the interim capital Aden launch awareness campaign against bearing arms in the city. This is the end of the news. It was Roshan Fouad. Thank you for watching.